So entrepreneurs and small business owners are basically still organizing their masterminds, their retreats, any part of kind of like the launch of they usually do with a program or a product that has that in-person component. So they are transitioning and they are changing the environment to the virtual landscape. So you, as their support team, you being maybe their virtual assistant or an online business manager, or you're their tech VA, any other support that you're basically providing to your boss, to your manager, to the entrepreneur that you support, even if you're just a freelancer, you then have to adjust accordingly. And so you have to pivot with them and go into the virtual space as well. And so the platforms that are kind of like on the top of everyone's mind right now is definitely Zoom, Facebook Lives, and the Room feature that was just launched by Facebook in the groups, in your personal Facebook page, business page, and then also in Instagram. Just got a notification the other day that the Room feature is also available. And then Microsoft Teams and Skype, Google Meet. So all of those platforms are available to us right now. And I feel like they are constantly updating their features and settings to just really make it easy for everyone to use. I just wanted to say that this video is particularly for those folks who used to be in the hospitality industry. Maybe you were an event planner at the restaurant, at a conference hall, maybe it was a trade or a convention center, and any other event planning company that you maybe used to be a part of. If you're coming from the world of tourism, this is actually also kind of like a time for you to really transfer all that knowledge that you have about organizing trips and programs for your tourist clients into the virtual space, right? Like I know that a lot of tourist companies are now pivoting into the virtual world by providing virtual tours. Even real estate agents now do virtual tours, right? And the apartment complexes too offer that feature. So basically for anyone who is transitioning from those kind of a conventionally in-person jobs where we used to connect like that in person are now going into the virtual space. Angie Hall in our group was actually curious about how to transition from in-person events to virtual ones. And I feel like this video is going to be valuable specifically for those folks that I just listed. When we basically go into the virtual space, we look at the location. Before, the location used to be a pretty somewhere kind of like destination spot that we definitely would choose right for our event, something that's really attractive, a destination that we would definitely want to visit, especially for conferences and professional associations. It would just be like something beachy and something nice with palm trees and lots of sunshine and beaches. And now all of that is not quite accessible or available to us. So in the virtual space, it's definitely being very intentional with the type of the virtual platform that you're using, like a video tool that you're using to organize your event. So it's the scheduling capability, right? Like how are you definitely connecting with all the attendees that you want to be present at the event, including the guest speakers and any guest experts that are going to be part of the event launch, right? The number of attendees that video tool is able to handle. And then also the number of video hosts per video, definitely having those capabilities that you not only the organizer, but maybe so your entrepreneur, the boss that you're supporting is going to be the main host of the event, but then you should also get a seat, right? Like if you're taking questions, if there's a Q&A session and you need to help your manager or like your boss to facilitate that. So definitely making sure that there's enough host seats for everyone who is going to be supporting the event, not just delivering it. And also host controls. So we know a myriad of different Zoom bombshells that have just been dropped left and right here in the past couple of weeks when people are entering the virtual space and they're not supposed to be there, they're not part of the group, they're not part of the event, sending inappropriate messages to the participants of the call. So muting speakers box lights up when they speak up, right? So that's another nice feature that Zoom offers. And then recording features. Are you able to store the recordings in the cloud versus your computer? Privacy settings, again, like how you are activating people's participation in the chat and managing that, right? Chat and document sharing too. If a person is entering into the virtual virtual chat, are they able to start sharing their documents? So that's something that goes along with the privacy feature. And then branding too. I mean, of course, branding goes a long way when you're using any type of video tools and virtual event setup tools, registrations, how you're going to be handling that if you're planning a bigger or larger event like a virtual summit. So that's also very important, that it's an iron out process that's very seamless and smooth. And then also notifications and reminders about the upcoming event, not only kind of like following up with the registrants who are already part of the event, but also reminding everyone else to just kind of like jump in, maybe last minute, maybe there is a sequence of reminders and notifications about the events. And breakout rooms, those are absolutely amazing in the Zoom. This is just, again, like one feature that offers a little bit more of like that connection and authenticity, I feel like, with the breakout rooms and just setting people up with a question that they can discuss polls and images and raise your hand and participate in conversation, maybe wave, high five, all of those really nice kind of like participation features. Again, that's, I feel like, is very important during the event itself and for people to feel included. And also reporting, how you going to be analyzing the metrics of the event. Was it successful? Was it not? Is it just the sales that you're looking for? Or is it some other metrics that you want to take a look at and set goals for? Also, event website, that goes really hand in hand with thinking about the overall location of the virtual, like where your event is going to live. The landing page, maybe unique domain name. So all of that goes into planning the very first initial steps of your video event. And then event budget. You have to think about small details as like your team is going to help you prep the event, right? Your personal hours, if you are a virtual assistant or an online business manager. So definitely incorporating those costs. And then promotional costs, like any ads that you're going to be running for the event, the use of any equipment, also the user and L&D plan of the virtual hosting platform that the subscription basically for the virtual tool, and then monetizing the webinars via maybe some payment integrations. Do you want to think about that a piece of the marketing? And then definitely event equipment, definitely video transcripts if you're going to be transcribing any of the video recordings that are going to be available maybe to some of the paying attendees. And that's also kind of like part of the charges, how you want to just think about the charging for the event. The virtual event equipment is kind of like a very important section here in planning your event. And it's not just the laptop or your phone or your desktop computer that you have to think like, are they strong enough to sustain the virtual event, right? The video camera, is it good quality? Do you need a standalone camera? Or is it okay to just work with the one that is available in your laptop or your desktop computer? And audio features too, like the microphone. Do you need a standalone microphone or your headphones or just whatever equipment you have already built in with your laptop or desktop computer? Is that enough? And then the content presentation. Is it Canva that you're using to create beautiful slide decks, right? Include the branding for your event. Also, maybe PowerPoint, maybe Photoshop, or Lightroom with Adobe. Any of those presentation platforms that you might actually need a graphic designer for, or are you creating them? Is your virtual team responsible for creating those slide decks for you? Content and graphics and video branding, all of that, could be done in Adobe and Photoshop. Your Wi-Fi network, or just whatever actual internet network is available in your location. That's super important to double check in advance that everything is running smoothly too. And the caption tool. Do you want to provide captions for people in videos? And it's already kind of like common knowledge right now that all the videos that are being viewed right now via social media platforms, most of them are actually captioned, and a lot of people watch those videos reading the captions with the sound off. So that's actually a very good investment for the event that you're planning or any type of video recording that you're doing. And then video hosting platform with the password protected feature, maybe locking the videos and not having them accessible and available to everyone, again, depending on what type of charge plans you want to set up for the video event. Maybe Vimeo, Dropbox, YouTube. Just keep in mind that with YouTube, there are no ownership rights really to your video. They're permanently hosted on the platform and they're owned by the platform. Google Drive, Wistia, Amazon Storage, where are you going to be storing those videos post-event, especially if part of your charge platform here, or the charge plan that you're designing, that the videos are going to be available as a lifetime access, then you have to keep paying for that video accessibility, right, for the hosting platform. So that's actually pretty important to also factor into the costs of the event, and just to think through how those videos are going to be available to your attendees. And then if you offer that lifetime access, again, choose your storage wisely. Any type of affiliate links that you're offering, are you using affiliates to promote the event? And how are you going to be handling the payouts to the affiliates? Video editing, are you going to be editing the videos that you've recorded with your guest speakers or your own videos? Any type of video editing you kind of just like want to incorporate, again, using your branding for the company. So virtual events, it's just, you already can tell that this is quite a bit of work, and all of this is doable. So just while watching this video, start making a list, start pausing the video and just kind of like incorporating a quick list of all the check marks that need to be checked when you're planning the event. So let's talk a little bit about your actual topic and your audience. So what is the specific topic for your event? I'm just thinking that it can't be too broad and too general, because there's so much competition already in the virtual world, because everyone is doing virtual events right now. That's the only way to reach the audience, and it's the only way to kind of like make the impact right now through that video content. So be very specific and intentional with your topic. It can be something broad as like, let's talk about leadership, or let's talk about running a business. So that's just way too broad, I would say. So definitely think about like more specific ways. If you're talking about marketing, for instance, let's discuss the 5 main ways to market your professional services in current times. So that's pretty specific, right? Like you can definitely hone into and give recommendations of the best and advice of the best ways to now market and make yourself visible online. So that's super valuable to a lot of people who are just starting out and who are already seasoned in their profession and might have lost some of their clients due to the crisis times we're in. And then maybe how to make your business stand out on Facebook or on other social media platforms. That's pretty specific, because you are going to be, again, focusing in on very specific actionable items that will be helpful for the business visibility again. And since we do not have that beautiful location available to us, like those destination conferences, right? Like the destination events that we used to be planning as event planners, now we definitely have to attract with the topic, with some maybe actionable, even almost like checklist, like 5 best ways, 10 best practices, sort of like very easy breakdownable, accessible topics that are going to be valuable to your audience. And that actually brings me to the next question. So what is your audience? Have you already defined it? And do you have an email list already that you're going to be advertising the event to? Do you plan to actually use your guest speakers or your guest experts to help you build the audience for the event and maybe advertise the event too? And realistically, and not ideally, what conversion rate do you actually plan for the event? And that's where the metrics and the goals set in. And this is where we're going to dive into that a little bit more down the road. I was just going to mention with your guest speakers, do you feel comfortable with everyone on your list recording the videos live? Are they trusted industry leaders? And how you actually going to be looking for the guest speakers? Is there a particular requirement that you want to apply to your guest speakers? And mainly, the more speakers you have, the more difficult and the more challenging, more time consuming it's going to be in planning the event. Just keep that in mind, that some virtual summits that have 30 to 50 guest speakers, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work just managing those guest speakers and then managing everything on the back end, making sure that all their videos, pre-recorded or live videos, are working very smoothly. So that's actually something that brings me to the requirements for your guest speaker. Questions basically to everyone who's participating on the speaker side in the event. Do they have a current email list size? Do you want them to actually engage their email list size to advertise the event too? Will they be part of your promotional plan? Do they have a specific social media following that you just want them them to be, to maybe have about 10,000 and more followers on their social media platforms? Like, is that a requirement to the guest speakers? And then do you want them to be from a specific industry, from the specific area? Do you want them to be niche down? Or basically, how valuable is going to be their professional experience to your audience? Any free giveaways that you want the guest speakers to offer to your audience, is that part of your promotional plan? And also, when you are thinking about charging for the event, could that be something that's attractive to sign up for the event, not just for the value that the guest speakers are going to be sharing, but also the giveaways that they're going to offer all the participants? The quality of the free gift, what should that free gift be? Is it just a checklist and maybe a guide, or is it more of like a strategy or a coaching session, be it 15 or 20, 30 minutes, more elevated type of experience for your attendees? How reputable and known your speakers are in the industry? Do you trust them to record live, or do you want pre-recorded videos? Again, something that I just mentioned. Should they have media kits already, kind of like presentation materials ready? Should they have some type of a topic when submitting their application, or you requesting them to participate in the event available and ready? Social media links, all of that information is super important and not valuable, but more like important to actually gather in advance. And this is something that where a lot of follow-up comes through, where you're just kind of chasing all of your guest speakers to make sure that they submit all of their details in advance, their headshots. Should there be a specific format for the headshots? So again, just to go well with the event branding and the uniformity of the branding of your event. The next question is, and I think I've already mentioned this a few times, how and when will you promote the event? And these days with live events, you start promoting basically about a week, maybe 2 weeks in advance, maybe some breadcrumbs 2 weeks before the event, but the major promotion is happening 1 week before. It used to be well before that, probably about a month in advance when you started promoting virtual events, but not anymore, because the attention span, and also something that I mentioned earlier, the competition is so high that these days it's typically 1 week that you are really going full force into promoting your event. And then a minimum of maybe 3 different promotional videos that you include with your advertisements if you're doing paid ads. So another thing to consider, event and speaker graphics, making sure that that's also part of your promotional platform. Maybe different graphics, different sizes for Facebook, for Instagram, for LinkedIn, depending on where you're promoting. And then content copy that goes into the promotional aspect of the event too, social media content, and then maybe email content, different types of swipe copy, especially if you're using affiliates or partnerships for promoting your event, hashtags, engagement. All of that has to be really well thought of and maybe planned definitely in advance. Daily follow-ups, not just with the speakers, but also with attendees that already signed up and people who abandoned the cart, and trying to nurture and revive that interest, landing pages, and then also affiliate pages, custom links for your partners as well. Then how are you charging for the event? So there are definitely different plans available. Sometimes it's just the regular access to the event, when people have access to live recordings just to watch and participate during the actual, on the event day. And the recordings then are only available for 24 hours. And then there might be different tiers like silver, bronze, and gold. For instance, tiers of the access to the live recordings and lifetime access, maybe more of the bonuses that are included from the guest speakers and the guest experts, right? So again, thinking about like that tier approach for the event. And generally, is your event free, or are you going to be charging for it? And that could also be determined by the goal of the event. Do you just want to generate visibility and interest for your brand, your business, and maybe a future launch that you're planning? Or are you actually going full on virtual summit? And that's when there is more opportunity to charge your audience. All these elements have to be definitely planned out. And especially when you're using affiliates or partnerships, thinking about how much do you actually want to pay for their affiliate and partnership promotion? Is it 40, 50%? Typically in the industry, it is about 50% these days. It used to be 70, 30, even 20, 80 split well, basically a couple of years ago, but nowadays it's definitely at 50%. And how will you be handling those payouts? And something that I mentioned earlier, again, we have to think about, is it going to be a spreadsheet? Is it going to be an actual affiliate platform that you're going to be using? And then also thinking if there is a refund policy, right? If there is a cancellation, like 30-day cancellation policy, when will your affiliates get a payout for the attendees and everyone who they bring into the event? Again, is it going to be 45 days then, just to cover that 30-day period and then process all the payouts? Just little intricacies, right, like that are very valuable to you to think about. And also thinking that actually leads into the cancellation policy, terms and conditions, the privacy policy, anything that has to be, again, just to kind of like thought through in advance when planning the event. Any type of discounts that you perhaps want to offer an early bird for your event registration, and then any type of like upsells, downsells, just like a regular launch. When you're planning a virtual summit, there are lots of opportunities to generate more revenue basically on top of the regular charges for the event. And then let's dive into the metrics. It's not just the number of attendees that we're after. It's the number of speakers, it's the number of prep hours on the virtual team and the support team that you're using on their side, the revenue that you're generating from the registrations, the conversion rate, the analytics from the tracking links, the ads that you're running for the event, Bitly, Rebrandly, short URL, all of those analytics that are offered by those particular links that you will be generating for the affiliates, the partnerships, and just the event registration, projected versus actual expenses. That could be also valuable to look at. Video live and replay metrics, that's definitely important. And then also the final decision should be live or pre-recorded videos, right? If pre-recorded, are videos edited in advance and are they captioned in advance? So that's additional time that you're going to be investing in it. Video editing that you will be paying for, again, like that's part of the event costs, transcriptions and captions. The final note here is the virtual team, that manpower that's required to basically make sure that the event is executed properly. It's the virtual assistant and or your online business manager. It's the project manager. It might be the graphic designer, the video editor, the copywriter, and the customer success specialist for handling any types of questions about login, maybe access to the videos, especially for folks who are in these bronze, silver, gold tiers, right? Like having access to the videos, making sure that the video recordings are working, so just troubleshooting something maybe on the tech side. A tech VA would be a good person definitely to have on your team. And then an affiliate manager, if you want someone, a dedicated person to handle those partnerships and affiliate relationships for the event building. And then social media manager, an ads manager, a billing assistant who might be working closely with the affiliate manager, especially handling the payouts, and a billing assistant to handle all the payment details as well. So a lot goes into planning a virtual event. Everything that I laid out here is definitely more on a larger scale, more like a virtual summit or a bigger virtual event launch. And it could all be definitely minimized to just you on the virtual team, right? And just a few attendees of the event and maybe just a couple of speakers. It could be much smaller scale, definitely. It's just really depends on the goal of your event, if it's part of a larger program or if it's just a standalone event. If it replaces an in-person conference, then yes, it is going to go big. Or if it replaces a trade show, yes, it's going to grow into much bigger sizes. So that's understandable and it will need more manpower.